Hey everyone, welcome to Marketing for Designers podcast. I'm your host, Masha Coyne, a messaging strategist and a copywriter for the interior design industry. I've been marketing for what feels like forever in my past career at some of the biggest global firms like KPMG and Deloitte. Today, I write website copy for designers using my signature voice of customer framework. If you're a designer looking to up your marketing game and attract premium clients, this podcast is for you. Each week on the show, we're going to be talking all things marketing, from branding to messaging to social media, SEO, and so much more, so you can have all the tools you need to grow your business and attract your dream clients. Hey guys, welcome back to Marketing for Designers podcast. As you know, each week I bring you either a marketing expert, an interior designer, or it's just you and I. Today, we're chatting with a designer. I'm so excited for this conversation because not only I'm chatting with an incredible interior designer who's got a strong marketing game, but also a client of mine whose website copy I worked on. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest. I'm chatting with Eva Healy. Don't call her Eva, she's Eva. She's a founder and principal designer of Avenue Design, an award-winning full-service interior design firm known for creating luxe, deeply layered, and irresistibly livable spaces. She manages an all-female team that combine everything you need under one roof to run a successful design and build project that always stays on track because Eva is a process queen. So welcome to the show,
Thank you so
Eva.
much. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be part of this.
Me too. I was just telling you, you are the first designer on this podcast, which is so awesome.
Such an honor. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, I would love to start with your story. If you could share with my audience, how did you become a designer?
Well, I think a lot of people have the same story. I was always artistic. I was always prone to being a very creative child. But I also grew up in an Eastern European household where being a doctor or a lawyer was really the way to go.
The only way to go.
Right. Both my parents were pharmacists, so they were, pursuing, being doctors at one point and then switched over to pharmacy. So it was never on my mind to do anything on the creative end to a certain degree because I was always told that would not make any money. Mm-hmm. I did, however, pursue, art as a hobby throughout high school. And then going into university, I was looking, and I'm aging myself here, looking through catalogs at that time of universities. And I was like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? Decided to go to York, did an undergrad in double majors in law and society and psychology, thinking I was going to be a lawyer. Or a psychologist of some sort. Loved studying it. Did not see myself doing either. And I did, in my first year, I did some art courses thinking, okay, maybe I can do a minor in art or something. And didn't love that either because it was more just, nudes. Mm-hmm. It was fellow students that I then would see in a lecture hall and be like, I saw you naked. That was weird. But anyways, I was lost. So I think third year, I was like, you know what? This is not the path. I appreciate everything that I've learned, but I do need to switch tactics here and figure out what the heck I want to do with my life. And going back to flipping through those catalogs back in high school, I remember seeing interior design and thinking, hey, that's really freaking cool. I would love to do that as a career. And I think at the time, I don't know if I saw an ad that made me remember that or what, but I ended up looking into different schools. And because I had just already done a 4-year degree, I didn't really want to do another 4-year degree. So I ended up going to a private college. And that private college was an accelerated 2-year diploma at the time, which I don't think exists anymore. I kind of slid right in under the regulations that are now degrees, 4-year degrees.
Do you need like 4 years now?
I think you need 4 years for, an interior design degree now. I think you can get a 3-year diploma of some sort. I think decorating's shorter, design is longer. I don't know what the newest regulations are, but I know that most of my staff that I hire do 4-year degrees. So I got lucky, but I also had very much sleepless nights for a year and a half. but loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Was like, wow, this is it. My dad, especially, was not a huge fan.
No, sure.
The idea, what do you mean? We just spent all this money on your degree. What do you mean you're not going to be a lawyer or a psychologist? And now he's laughing because,
Imagine.
things have changed. So yeah, I think it was a great learning curve to find myself. And I think a lot of kids these days, especially starting university or college earlier than even I did, because I still did OAC back in the day.
Oh my God, me too.
Yeah, and nobody knows what the heck that is.
No. I don't know if I remember.
I know, right? So you did have an extra year, but now they have even less, and it's really I have no idea how people.
I have a 16-year-old who's going to be
Right?
grade 12, and that's last year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Things change.
And I wouldn't have known. I really wouldn't have known at the time what the heck I wanted to do. So kudos to the people that do go into what they want to do and stick to it. Realize they made a good choice. But mine was, a little bit more of a larger loop to get to where I wanted to be. And yeah, and graduated, took a little bit of a break because I was very burnt out. I waitressed and bartended throughout college as well to, not only pay the bills for schooling that my parents decided not to support me in as much because of the fact they supported my university pursuit. So yeah, ended up working throughout it all and ended up finding employment with a couple of design firms, really learned the ropes. Never wanted to own my own business. Somehow got
so interesting.
the right momentum and it kind of snowballed into the right thing. And now I can't imagine, doing anything else. So
and not owning your own business.
No, right? Like it's just the weirdest thing. And it's again, I think this whole journey really brought me to where I was supposed to be. So you don't necessarily know where the heck you're going to end up sometimes, but you just kind of trust the process and things have a way of working out.
I love it. Whatever happens, happens for a reason. I agree with that. Definitely believe in that. That's awesome. What a story. So that's pretty amazing. Going from psychology and law into interior design. That's awesome. And I think we all need sometimes, like I'm making my son right now. I was like, well, you have to know what you want to do in university. But I'm like, do you really think you can take a couple of years to kind of figure it out? So it's all good. So that's amazing. Let's talk marketing now. Before we get into it, I just want to say there's some pretty impressive stuff that I was able to dig up on you and your firm. So it sounds like you've got a presence, what feels like everywhere. You've got a professionally designed and written website. You're showing up on House, Pinterest, TikTok as of recently, Instagram with 30,000 followers, which is crazy impressive. And you were published in publications like Style at Home, House and Home, Our Home, 66, Toronto Star, Luxury Listed. And you were recently named top 100 designers in Canada by House and Homes. I probably missed a whole bunch of other publications and features, but you've got a lot going on, lady. But it's your Instagram posts and stories that I'm just completely obsessed with because you're just so real there. And so if anybody is not following Eva, you should. Her handle is Avenue Design Inc. So your content is kind of like a mixture of funny memes, reels, like join me on the job and walk through of client sites, really fun and catchy videos showcasing your work. What seems like always professional photography and a lot of photos of you. Did I get that right? Or did I miss anything?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think, yeah, it's definitely a good mix, which I hope resonates and comes through because I don't want it to be a stagnant page where, it's just pretty pictures because I don't think that you get to understand the person, the team, the everything behind the pictures because there are a lot of designers out there. And I think that's really what I'm trying to achieve.
So it sounds like it was an intentional way to create that positioning or kind of like visibility or presence on your Instagram. Tell me what's the main goal of your marketing or what does your marketing strategy look like for your firm?
Yeah, I think, when I first started out, as many even people that are very well established in the industry, I just felt stupid about showing my face, talking, doing anything on camera and on social media because it was also somewhat new to the scene as well. Because I think Instagram I've been doing the longest.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to get over yourself. My biggest thing was, and it's actually, I think something my mom, she's always right somehow.
No.
And I don't know if it was like a mom thing, oh, you're so pretty, you should just like show yourself more and blah, blah, blah. Or if they actually knew what she was talking about. But at the time she said, show more of yourself because your stuff is great, but like show your face, show them like what you do and talk and talk and talk. And so I started and I felt dumb the first bunch of times, as most people come up to me and say, I can't do it. I just feel so dumb. I sound so stupid. I hate the sound of my voice. But I made a big kind of conscious decision to show people not only what I can do, but who I am. Because I think at the end of the day, oh, I got flowers from my hubby. Thank you.
Oh my God. Lucky girl.
It's happy Thursday to me. Yeah, I thought it was really important to have that sort of connection with my potential clients, my followers, my people that want to learn, my fellow industry peers, to learn not only about how we came to be to this beautiful glossy after, but also the process, the journey, the things that we might have messed up on because it's real life. And sometimes on TV, you see everything going right and being on budget and all these things. That's not real life. I really wanted to resonate with everybody to say, I'm a real person. This is not some sort of edited, version of myself. The memes started because sometimes I have nothing to say.
Those are the best though. I'm like, every time I see me, I'm like, are we the same person?
I know. I get that a lot. It's pretty funny. And it's funny because there's a very select tone that I seem to resonate with, which I think is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
That tone, sometimes other people will send me something that they think is funny, that they think I will think is funny. And I'm like, that's funny, but that's not like
right. Yeah. That's so funny.
I don't know. There's something about like the things that I curate for,
and it resonates, right? I bet if you look at your analytics, and I don't know if you do, but I bet like those get probably the highest engagement or the highest views or whatever that is.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny. And again, it's just comic relief to sometimes stressful days. Boring days, or days where we are working on some really, really cool stuff, but I can't necessarily show all our cards because we do have a lot of clients watching. There's a project right now that we're working on that I had to really keep under wraps because the client does follow us, and we were doing some really, really cool stuff, and I really didn't want to show all my cards. And so
before you present it to them.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. We were doing a big presentation and it was a full team, all in. Everybody was just getting things done because there was a bit of a tight deadline to it as well. And I had nothing to say and nothing to show because it was all one project and gearing up to this deadline. So there's a lot of memes.
That's cool. So now I know what happens when there's a lot of memes. Like, exactly. She's working on some important clients that she can't share yet. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I think, again, just showing everyday life, showing behind the scenes is always fun because it also just shows, again, the process of all the different aspects of this industry and what we work on. Because I think, again, a lot of people think it's this glamorous job and we get to, wear beautiful clothes and go to these cool events and spend all this money. But yes, but also
especially the last couple of weeks.
I know, it's been great. But also there is a lot of times where we're schlepping, we're tired, we're drained, we're not in the best of moods just because we're stressed out. So yeah, those are kind of the moments that you also need to show. My staff especially, because I push them.
I like that. When it comes to Instagram specifically, how would you describe what you do and how you show up there? Do you have like, the idea of content pillars? For example, all the stuff that you show, is there a specific strategy that you align to? There's like, I don't know, 20% of my content is going to be showing behind the scenes. 20% of my work is going to be showing the final work. Is there something like that, or it's more intuitive?
I would want to say it's the first one because that makes me sound really smart. But also intuitively, I think, yeah, I think there has to be a good mix, and it also depends on what I've got going and what I have in my vault of stuff that I do want to either show at a later date, or I have a lot of the same project content and I don't want to overwhelm the page with just the one project. So it depends on my mood that day, depends on I think my grid. I did do a seminar years and years ago where they were talking about the Instagram grid, especially, and the squares that you see, and then that there should be a percentage of, overall pictures, close-ups, lifestyle content type of stuff. So I think that resonated to a certain degree, and I've kept that bit of a balance going so that you get a little bit of everything. And I do find that pictures of me somehow do really well. So I just
always I'm finding the exact same thing. I don't know what is it about it, but I think it's, letting your audience get to know you. And usually when you post a photo, there's always some type of story or like an anecdote or something. And people feel like, I guess it's connecting. I would say this is why.
Yeah. I think that's the same thing. I think it's the connection there, and that's you kind of hit it right on the head. Is I don't want to just be like, hello, with my caption. Like, there's always going to be some sort of anecdote with that caption, or some sort of interesting tidbit for people to read about, so that it's not just selfie or
That's
whatever.
right. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I'm curious. You've got 30,000 plus followers. That's amazing. It's very impressive. How did you reach such an impressive following? Do you know what was the key to that? What was
I think time for me, because again, I think I should probably look back at it, but I think I've been doing this for a good 10 years. It wasn't as big before. It was, there was moments where people knew about Instagram but weren't using it for business purposes. It was more personal. I think I made a conscious decision to definitely pursue more of the business end of it. I had a personal page at one point, and that went down the wayside. So now this is why I kind of intersperse some family stuff in there as well. But yeah, I think it was a conscious decision to follow the Instagram path, because it seemed like everybody was on it. Why not capitalize on the fact that this is a great platform for people to be browsing, to be educating themselves, to be finding funny memes, all the things. And I can sprinkle in a little bit of business there and see if there's, an opportunity to find a new client, or a supporter of some sort. I network often. I find new products all the time. So there was definitely a conscious decision there to say, okay, if I'm going to do this, it is a full-time job. It's definitely dedication. It's a lot of hours. I often get asked if I'm the one managing the account. Yes, I am. Every single thing that's
that's good to know.
Yeah, everything is single. And I've and we'll discuss this as well, there's definitely opportunities to outsource where you don't specialize in certain areas. We're all professionals and specialists in our own fields. And, there's definitely areas where I'm like, there's no point in me investing my time to do it better. But for Instagram, I just feel that because it's such a personal thing, and there are these areas of personal touches, that it wouldn't come across if I had hired somebody to do that. But yeah, I think for me, the marketing strategy has really been to reach different pockets of people, trades and kind of industry peers alike, people that just enjoy my content and are local, people that might be potential clients and now understand what I can do and kind of follow me closely. It might not be the exact moment where they can or will hire me, but they'll remember me by me continuously posting. So yeah, I think it was a good choice back in the day. But I don't know if there was anything that really set me apart at the beginning. I did feel that there was a very slow climb from 0 to 5,000, let's say. It is a very slow climb because who the heck are you? And like, why should I follow you when you have so many, like, because it is as kind of snobby as it sounds, there is a certain, I don't know, look about when somebody sees your page and like, oh, they've only got like 1,500 followers. Oh, like, what do they know?
People make assumptions and a bit of a judgment. Yeah.
And it's not by any means, sometimes valid. It's just, that's just the way of the world. Oh, like who are you? Know nothing because you know. So it was a steady and slow climb to get a certain amount. And then I think it ended up being a little bit more organic and a little bit more easy to get just organically more followers more regularly, which then ended up kind of snowballing. And there were viral times where I would just boom and have a bunch of followers, and then I would kind of drop off again. So it just, yeah, it's time, I think. Now it's different. We were just talking about the algorithm and all the different, underlying things that can make or break your follower count or just your content in general. So now I have no idea what the heck to do.
Yeah.
I'm staying consistent because I feel like that's the only thing you can do is that consistency, keeping everybody entertained and being top of mind, because you just never know who's going to resonate with your message that day or picture that day. And I often find things at just the right moment. I would have maybe scrolled past whatever that was, but I'm actually looking for that. And oh my God, yes, that's exactly what I need. Or I didn't know I was looking for this, but this is so amazing. So I think
that's so good. I wonder I'm curious, what stops your scroll? Personally for you?
It really depends on what's going on. Like, again, it really depends on what's going on that day in my life. I think that there's definitely, if you look at like my For You page or whatever, you'll see a huge variety of different things that I'm into, from, like nail inspo, what am I going to do for my nails the next time around, to, fitness, to interior design, obviously, fashion, like anything and everything. But I don't know, things just seem to somehow resonate. Like today I was looking at some stories of people I follow, and they had a couple of links or they posted,
like reshared, or
like a reel that's in their story. And I clicked on that thing and I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And it was just totally by chance, by this, by that I was like, I didn't even know to look for it, but this is exactly what I've been looking for. And then it kind of gets you into this like, snowball of, and rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole, yeah. I was just thinking rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole of hours being like, oh, this is so cool. And then you click on something that they shared, and then all of a sudden, yeah. And then you lose hours of your day. And then people are like, oh my God, you spent so much time on your phone today. Well, yeah, but I often say it's networking, it's researching, it's all the things.
That's cool. I wonder what percentage of clients come from Instagram.
You know what? You'd be surprised, and I'm often surprised, quite a large amount. I would say
really
right now there's maybe 50% of my clients are, when I ask.
50%.
Yeah, which is craziness.
It is crazy.
It's not a scientific number. I'm totally kind of eyeballing it, but yeah, it's crazy. There's two big streams for me in terms of new clientele, and Instagram seems to top the stream these days. So
second referral?
No, house. Well, referrals are always good, but referrals, you just don't know who knows people and when people need stuff. So I often get referrals, but do they lead to the most amount of
closing? Yeah,
closings? Not necessarily. House is the next big one, I would say. And even with that one, that used to be my biggest one, but with that one, I now don't really fully know if it's a house referral or if it's because they often go to my page where it has like a contact us page, the house people. So sometimes get the house like message from the house app, but I often get the contact us thing on my website. And we've now very smartly added a little window into my new website that I refreshed to say, how did you find out about us? Because as much as I try to ask that question every single time, I often don't. And then people are like, oh, how did you get that client? I'm like, I don't know. But when
No, sometimes they don't remember because
yeah,
they first
yeah,
started in a house and then they may have gone to a bunch of different places.
yeah. So referrals are huge, absolutely. And referrals aren't necessarily only from previous clients, but again, it's like industry, it's trades and people that I've connected with or worked with in the past. So it really depends on where it comes from. But I would say those are my obviously three biggest ones.
That's very interesting. I wonder what marketing strategies have you found the most effective in growing your business and why?
Marketing strategies that are the most effective to me right now and that I can pinpoint from, because again, sometimes it just has no rhyme or reason, has actually been a lot stemming from some of the messaging that you've been putting out there. I think it's really pinpointing who you want your target audience to be, who you want your target clientele to be, because at the end of the day, it is the business, and the business needs to have clients and make money. I think my biggest pivot in the recent years has been understanding who I want to target, who I want to portray myself as and my business as, so that the energy I am expanding and all the efforts that I'm making are towards the right kind of clientele and people. So that again, it's just resonating with the right amount of people in the circles that I want it to.
I love that. Why was it important to you to get clear on that messaging, to get clear on your X factor?
I honestly think that a lot of people are spinning their wheels. They're not, again, focusing on the right messaging, the right people. They think, okay, well, I just need to stay busy. I need to. Oftentimes, what happens when we have discussions with fellow designers and friends of ours is, oh my God, these clients, I keep getting these clients that are high maintenance or low budget and they expect everything and they want everything. And what the heck? Like, why do I keep getting these clients? And oftentimes I learned in the recent months or years, I guess, is that oftentimes it's because those are the circles that your current clients are in. And so the new clients are seeing what you're working on and therefore saying, oh, I have a similar whatever. And I need that. Oh, she seems great. This is awesome. So by kind of mentally focusing on what and discovering what I want to, where I want to be and what I want to do with the business, I was able to focus on the type of clientele that I wanted, the type of projects that I wanted. I also had to be very, very cognizant of the fact that saying no is okay. Very scary, especially when you're in a business and you want to grow that business. And, well, I'm not going to be busy if I say no to these people. It's a good filler. It'll be quick. It'll be that. We all know that the quick and cheap kind of projects that you think are just going to be quick and, oh, it'll just fill the gaps and for the next one are the ones that will give you the most headaches. They're the are without a doubt going to be the most involved type of clientele and the most amount of revisions and the most demanding. And it's not that they're bad people. It's just, again, I think what it ends up being is the high profile projects, the very large budgets. If you think about the percentage of the budget in comparison to their net worth, let's say, versus these smaller projects that are also, high budget for these particular people, but their net worth is that much lower. It's a much bigger project in their eyes because this is a lot of money to them. Whereas these clients that have very unlimited funds, for the most part, they're too busy. They don't want to take care of anything. They hired you for a reason. You're doing it. I know it's going to be expensive, but it's that same mentality that I'm taking really personally right now is I'm too busy and I would rather focus on the thing that I'm good at and outsource the things that I'm not. And I'm going to trust that person to just do it and not micromanage. And I think that's what really made me aware that I was trying to learn from every experience, every client, every headache of any sort that we had within our projects. What are we doing to get these clients? Why do we getting that one-off client here and there and that's also just natural that you're always there's a small percentage of clientele that you're gonna be like, oh, damn it, I didn't know, and why? But really it was for me understanding how I can mitigate and how I can minimize having these really needy, micromanaging, second guessing
Less
clients.
trusting clients.
Yes, and again, they're lovely people, but like it's just making it that much harder, and they're always happy at the end, but the process was just that much longer. And within that, obviously, because the process is that much longer, you're not making any money because you did them a favor, you just wanted that filler, you charged a little less because you weren't that busy, whatever. Or you charged what you regularly would charge and soon realized that you didn't charge enough. So now is the time to really think through all the different aspects of the things that don't work to figure out the things that can work going forward. And saying no was the very first step. Okay. I know, and there's always red flags. Okay. I know going forward that we don't want to do just a kitchen or a bathroom because that has now become a thing that we know is just, it's too much work for not enough whatever gain. Then we went into, okay, well, we don't want to just do a main floor reno. We now want to get into, higher profile projects. So let's just do either, if we do a main floor reno, it has to be a bigger budget. So I think through that self-discovery, there was marketing that kind of evolved to a certain degree to what extent I could do and understand all these aspects. But then it was hiring people such as yourself that also made me reflect a little bit more on, well, yeah, like what makes me different? Why would somebody want to hire me? There's a lot of designers out there. There's beautiful, after images of all these beautiful projects. Great. So you can do really nice stuff. So what? What is that secret sauce, as you call it? So it's really understanding that as well, and understanding what makes us different and what makes us tick, and why you have to hire us rather than just like, oh yeah, she's cool. What makes us more memorable, that I think has really upped the marketing game for us and has taken us to a higher level that I'm really happy we're kind of scaling towards where I want to be.
I love that. I love it. And I love that you've got the clarity on your differentiator. I'm curious, where do you use it now? Like now what? Like now that you've got this clarity on the secret sauce, the thing that you bring to the table, what do you do with that now?
I think onwards and upwards. I think I'm just gonna again just take all the knowledge that I'm gaining, and again, it's an ever evolving spiral of what works, what doesn't. Seeing all the positive benefits of sticking to my guns and sticking to the messaging that I know will propel me into the echelon that I want to be in terms of clientele is a really good positive affirmation for I'm doing something right, because the leads that are coming in by saying no, by highlighting the things that do make us different in terms of our content, in terms of our branding and strategy and all the things, the leads that are now coming in are on par. Well, I still get the ones that I say like just automatically nicely, but automatically, I'm so sorry, that's not part of our scope. And I was actually told by a client slash mentor back in the day that by saying no, don't say sorry. It's just not. It's just it's not rude to say this isn't what we do. And that is a very important message for everybody to learn, is that you're not sorry for not doing that. You do this. This is your specialty. So by putting that out into the world, you're creating opportunities. Because if you keep saying yes to the little stuff because you're scared, you're never going to have time for the big stuff. What if that big thing comes along and now you're too bogged down with all this crap, small stuff, and you don't have the capacity to take that on? So
that's such a good advice. I love that. Could you describe a particular marketing campaign or an effort that you took on that you consider the most significant, like a needle moving kind of project or a thing that you did or implemented in your business? Was there one thing, or maybe there was a series of things?
Yeah, I don't think it was one thing. Like I was trying to think back on what again kind of tipped us over to going from this to that. There really, I don't think was a tipping point. I think it was just a culmination of doing all the right things. I think absolutely people sometimes get really lucky, and I think that was my initial introduction into interior design and going out on my own. My tipping point was that I ended up working with a client who then introduced me to all his friends, who then introduced me to like his neighborhood, and I did all the houses. And but this was like literally the first or second year of me being out on my own and or even working for somebody else and kind of doing this on the side, which was why I decided to go out on my own. So I think that there was an early on tipping point for me as to say, hey, I'm actually good at this. I'm actually able to sustain a regular paycheck, which is a very sometimes important thing. Well, always important thing, but sometimes hard thing to do when you're first starting out in the industry is having that stability of either I'm rich or wow, I have nothing. Having a nest egg and knowing that you have to be conservative with when times are great, so that when they're not, you don't have to worry. And with COVID, I think a lot of designers blew up and everything was going so well and all these things and oh my God, all these clients, it's never going to end. We're now seeing a backlash to that because there are a lot of designers that started out really, really strong because it was COVID and demand was high, and that is dropping off. And now all of a sudden there isn't as much work, and oh my goodness, I really have to work that much harder to get my name out there and get that business. So for me, it was just keeping consistent, keeping again that brand messaging consistent, so that we are there, and when you need us, you know where to find us, and being top of mind is really important because, again, I think sometimes, just like me, I can scroll through that same message or same person or whatever many a time, and it isn't until I actually need that thing that all of a sudden it really resonates, and I'm like, wait, I need to stop and go further into this. So I think it's just upping the chances of being seen by being consistent, by being prolific and being out there often in whatever capacity. Maybe memes aren't your thing, and again, that was just kind of a thing that happened because COVID, because of everything. But for me, it's getting a laugh out of somebody is sometimes just as powerful as showing this beautiful penthouse that we're working on. So maybe that's, I think, where the consistency and the like slow climb has really helped is again being top of mind. And I think a lot of people do that often with newsletters and blogs and things like that, is where you get subscribers, and again, it might not be that somebody that's reading these things is necessarily relating to them right now, but all of a sudden they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember Eva wrote that thing, and it's now, wow, I need that. So where was it? And you go back.
Yeah, it's a long-term game sometimes with marketing. But I like how you said that you did a series of the right things. Have you ever done anything as far as marketing tactics or strategies that did not work as planned? Or maybe you've experimented and it didn't work as you thought it would?
Yeah, I think there's many different avenues of marketing. And for me, what hasn't worked is print advertising. I've had a lot of people follow up over the years or approach me over the years saying, oh, buy a page in our magazine. Or I even did like a stint in The Path, downtown Toronto. They had like screens and advertising, and I don't know how they found me, but they were asking if I'd be interested in advertising there, and I was like, oh wow. So, and of course, all this stuff sounds so good, and they're like, oh, the amount of people that walk through that path, and they're all executives, they're all going to their executive jobs downtown Toronto, yada yada.
It's like an underground world. Whoever doesn't know what it is, like an underground world that connects all the business buildings in Toronto.
The core of downtown.
Yeah.
Usually the executives and all the high-rise stuff buildings. So I thought, oh my goodness, that's so great. And it was a lot of money. Like I don't remember exactly how much it was, but it was thousands for this particular thing. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to bring so much business. Nothing. done, yeah, like magazines where they're like, oh, our subscribers and our members are going to see your uh, ad, and as they're flipping through the magazine, nothing. And sometimes you can't really measure that because you don't know, again, whether a lead comes from them seeing you there or seeing you there. And sometimes it is a bit more organic, but I've just learned that for me, I don't think it's ever worked. And I think I gave it a good try, like at least 3 or 4 times. And again, this is thousands of dollars where at a time where I was like, well, I might as well take a chance because you just don't know. And by the like third or fourth time, I'm like, nah, this isn't working. And again, I've been approached by very recently many kind of more top tier magazines and things. And of course, this is more of sales pitch. Oh yeah, you're so awesome! Like advertise with our
Yeah.
magazine or whatever it is, and you'll be seen. And like it's such an honor. And I'm just like, it doesn't work. And if you try to turn it, oh, of course it works. You just haven't tried the right, whatever. No, it doesn't work. So
I like that you know that it doesn't work. I like that you've tried it and it's not like the one time that you tried, but you tried it a couple of times. And I think for you, it doesn't work. I feel like because it's so top of funnel, like it's for people that don't know you, that you have no brand awareness with those people. You are all about making that human connection. And Instagram is, I feel like, where you do that so well.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it just, and even going back to House, where a lot of designers say that House does not work for them.
I heard that before.
They're very much against it. There was a bit of a backlash at one point because there was a change in the House platform and the way that they were kind of obviously again trying to make money, because everybody tries to make money somehow, and they were taking designer pictures and kind of cross-referencing product that wasn't necessarily the product used, but it looked like it, so that they could make a sale and yada yada. So you could purchase through the House platform.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of designers thought, well, that's sucks because you're making money off of my image, but I'm not making any money on these products that you're now trying to sell that are in my image, which I totally get. And I agree to a certain degree, but also I'm also getting the the recognition and the viewership from them being such a big platform, that if people were Googling, let's say Oakville designer or whatever designer, I would be popping up because it was such a big platform. And that's kind of what stuck with me, is they can make their money. I'm also making money on their money.
There's enough.
There's
enough for everyone.
So a lot of people, and even very recently, somebody said, oh yeah, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of new things. An industry peer, another designer, was saying, I'm trying to think of new things to do to, advertise whatever. I remember you saying House, and remind me again what's going on, because I tried it and or I've heard people try and it really doesn't work. And yeah, I don't know what I did differently, or again, if it was just luck of the draw and I seem to have gotten in to the right bubble. I have no idea, but it definitely works for me. And again, it didn't work for others. So maybe what didn't work for me in magazines has worked for others in the past. So who the heck knows? But yeah, for the most part, I try not to. I've gotten lucky enough where I don't have to pay as much for my marketing. It is
all organic.
Organic, and I feel like that's the most authentic. Doing collabs is also something that I've gotten into recently. Well, in the last couple of years, anyway.
Like with vendors and partners.
Yeah, vendors and partners, and there's those kids on TikTok that make millions on this stuff and never have to work a day in their life, in terms of like office work. I'm definitely nowhere near that, but it is fun to have that new kind of revenue stream in terms of using my platform and my followers and my name and my brand to partner up with other brands that say something to who I am and what I would use. I would never, try to sell something that I don't believe in. When you're, at that level where people, there's certain people out there that are like, well, I make enough money, I'll just say it's great, but it's not great. No, like I never want to be that person, because then I think people lose trust and faith in what you say. Everybody that I do partner up with has been awesome, and are products that I would use anyways. So why not?
I like
A
that.
really good one too. It's again, it's that human connection. It's that networking that you do as a natural byproduct of that social media game of all the events that I go to. Sometimes it feels like a bit of a chore. Oh God, I have to go to this thing. And most days it's like the day of, you're like, oh, I really don't. I was so excited about it. The day of, I'm like, I'm so tired. I just don't want to go. And you go and you're like, yes, that was awesome. Even if you meet one person, that one person that you're like, yeah, I ended up catching up with all these people, but this one thing I think can lead to something else. And it, again, might not be immediate. You just never know when that connection happens. It could be years, it could be days, it could be months. You just don't know. So that part of the process is also something that you just have to be patient. Yeah.
I like that. And it's also, I feel like it's borrowing someone else's audience. So you're not really relying on your own audience. You're relying on somebody else's. That's why I feel like collaborations work.
Yeah, and I think that's
You're exposing yourself to a whole bunch of new people.
Exactly. And I think that's, again, like you can only get so far using your platform and the people that watch you. It's now, and that obviously works to a certain degree, but I think that they're definitely the next step up is to somehow, yes, collaborate, to branch off to other audiences that you might not be necessarily targeting or a part of, organic, whatever reach. That all of a sudden will cross into other people's lead revenue, and all of a sudden people are following you that might not have necessarily even known about you or would be interested about you, but hey, she seems cool and her work's beautiful, so why not?
I like that. Okay, so now that we're wrapping up, actually, two more questions. What tips would you offer to new interior designers who are just trying to establish themselves in the industry?
I think standing behind your work, being very transparent is important to everything that I do. Obviously, great design. Sorry, that's the first one. Great design, always great.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. I think there's a lot of really good designers out there, but I think that's where, again, the differentiator is are you a great designer and or a great business person? Because it is a business and it is understanding. And I didn't go to school for business. I have no idea when it comes to HR to accounting to all the things that are part of a business, and especially when you have staff. But I used to collect my receipts in a shoebox and figure it out later. And I've had to obviously level up over the years because the paperwork was just getting insane. But it's just really understanding the behind the scenes of the business that a lot of people don't necessarily focus on. And that's where things fall apart. I can say the same thing, with contractors, you're a great guy, you do awesome stuff. I'm never going to work with you again because you don't invoice, you don't communicate, the emails, the this, the that. For me, what makes us really, really successful in what we do is we are organized, we are process driven. Oftentimes when it's just a single person starting out in the industry, it's all in your head, which is fine, but you have to show a level of professionalism with what you do, not just the ideas and the creative side, but also that you're on top of your invoicing, that you're invoicing your clients, that you're tracking your time. If they ask you a question about a certain task that you've done, if you do hourly, you can within minutes prove that this is what I did and how long it took me. I think when and oftentimes this has come back to me from clients that have worked with previous designers. I say, what was it about your previous experience that left a bad taste in your mouth, or like what didn't you like about the experience? Oh, the communication. Oh, the pulling teeth when it came to invoicing. Oh, the extra fees that nobody ever told me about, and I paid so much more than I thought, and I didn't feel like there was value for my money. All of these things, again, being a great designer is a beautiful platform to start off on, but you do have to have this whole background and backstage, I guess, to everything that you do so that you can make sure that you're charging what you want and bringing the value of these services in all aspects of your job from start.
I love that. Yeah, get your systems in orders. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Process and systems.
Yeah, absolutely. It all falls apart if you don't have it, and it all will. Again, sometimes you can kind of fake it till you make it, but you get to a certain point where you just can't. And especially if you're again trying to grow your business, trying to get your name out there and do all these things to make yourself successful in this industry, it's all going to fall apart if you don't get all that stuff figured out in on the back end, because there will come a time where your creativity and your cool ideas stop short of implementation and pulling the project through. Because I once heard this, and I think it really has stuck with me. The clients remember the last 10% of the project at the end of the day. It's like having a baby. You love your pregnancy. There's all these like pains and things that are happening, but at the end you just kind of remember being pregnant and having a baby, and yeah, there was some stuff, but I don't remember the stuff. You want that. You want there to be hiccups because that's normal and natural. You don't want people to remember, oh yeah, well, it was great and I love my house, but I would never do this again because it took too long. It was too expensive. It was this, it was that. It was such a, disaster for this and that, or it doesn't feel like me. Like, all these things can be different issues that come up, but you want your client at the end of the day to not remember that last 10% where they were disgruntled and or broke and or you weren't answering their emails and it took too long. You always want to have that last positive impact on the project, so that yes, there were things that happened, but she made them better and she fixed them, and it's a human process. Human mistakes happen, but she stuck through it, and as a team pulled through to make this house that we now love, and we forget all the bad stuff. It's just beautiful.
Because it's not the result only, it's the experience too. And that's what I find when I interview my clients, the interior designers clients. That's what they tell me. You would think that they're gonna constantly talk about, because the reason why I do these interviews is to find out their experience, and you would think that they're going to be like raging about the design and how it looks now, but they end up talking about the things. Well, it was just so much fun, and she was always on top of things, and the things that they tell me is not so much about the design, but how you made them feel and the kind of experience you've created for them.
Yeah,
working with them.
Those are the lasting memories. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's
I love it.
It's always a tweak. It's always every project that we work on, we learn a little something more from, so that we can make the next one better. And obviously we take all the positives of those projects and we're like, yes, we're doing this right. Let's keep doing that. And let's not lose it, because that's also something that happens is going from one person to multiple people in an industry, in a company, design company. There is a growing pain. There is, a big jump from everything's in your head to now delegating. And sometimes that gets diluted and, well, I want to work with you. I don't want to work with that person. It needs to be a very cohesive team effort where all of your team members are on par with how it would be like working with me personally, because I cannot do all the things anymore. There's not enough of me to go around with the amount of projects that we now have under our belt, but you are in good hands with my team, and the team is really what makes it as well.
I love that. Okay, so a question that I always ask my guests at the end: what's the one thing that you implemented or a practice that you adapted that was a game changer for your business?
I would say processes and marketing. Yeah, absolutely.
Why am I not surprised that this is a thing for you?
Yeah, again, I don't think we would be where we're at so solely relying on doing cool stuff. Doing cool stuff is definitely what can kind of get people excited, but just as we said, it's the process. It's the lasting memories of how did we get here that will make this all worthwhile. And no matter how good we are with budgets and with timelines and with all these things, if we're all running around like crazy and the client senses that and knows that there's some sort of like unrest behind the scenes, it makes them restless and it makes them second guess things. And that's where some of those kind of clients where all of a sudden, one thing goes wrong and now they're second guessing everything and they're asking all these things happens. So if we can nip that in the bud and become really strong at the things that we know are going to be the lasting kind of milestones in a project, that is what I think is making us that much more successful in this industry.
Love it. Eva, thank you so much for kind of letting us into your business a little bit behind the scenes and for sharing so much of your marketing and how you run your business and about you. Love it. Thank you.
No problem. I had a great time. I hope my rambling
Oh, you're amazing. You're so real. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm always happy to help. And I think, in this industry, especially, it's a big industry and there's many different branches of, again, design and messaging and marketing and all the things that we should all be a very happy family, and we should all be kind of learning from each other, because that's really how you grow. It's your specialty, my specialty, all these different specialties. How can we all make ourselves better at what we do?
Collaboration. Love it. Thanks, Eva.
No problem.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Marketing for Designers. This is Masha Cohen signing off. See you next week.